Hi, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About This. I am your host, Crystal Hicks. Today, I have the privilege of speaking with a truly inspiring individual. She is not only a psychologist, but she's also a visionary festival creator. She's a filmmaker and she's a passionate advocate for authenticity and empowerment. And as a festival director and founder, she has pioneered spaces that foster community and inspire connection. Her dedication extends beyond her professional role as a single mother of children with special needs and a warrior living with multiple sclerosis. Um she is also the founder of the Guinea Pig Sanctuary. I can't wait to talk about this. And she is the compassionate about, for all the living beings. And today I want you to welcome Jacquelynn Wolfheart. Jacquelynn, welcome to the podcast. That was a long introduction, huh?
Yes, it was. Oh my gosh, it didn't flatter me though. I just felt so like, oh wow, I must be special.
Oh, you are special. You are special. You got to pat yourself on the back sometimes,
Thank
you
you.
know?
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you on. When I got the request for you to come on the podcast, I was excited after reading your bio and just being able to not only bring you on the podcast, but also just to connect with you. It's good to build relationships with people, outside of the things that you enjoy doing. And that's how you grow, That's my Pomeranian. I have a dog.
Cute.
And he's sitting next to me. He
Hi,
always wants
puppy.
to be, he's always under me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's how those little doggies are.
Yeah, yeah, he's spoiled, but that's my fault. I spoiled him, and he's a rescue. I got him about 4 years ago at a shelter.
Cute.
He was 2 years old, and he's 6 years old now. So me and him have built this really strong connection. So
Yeah,
it's my
yeah.
baby. I love him to death. So first of all, I want to ask you, how are you doing? And where are we chatting from right now?
I'm doing great. Today's a wonderful day. It's beautiful, sunny out, and yeah, I'm in Florida, so it's sunny here a lot, but it's also rainy here a lot, and people don't like really talk about that much. But it's a nice day. I'm on the coast. I'm in Melbourne, Florida, so I'm maybe 5 minutes from the beach. It's lovely,
Oh,
lovely
that
here.
must be nice to be 5 minutes away from the beach. I
Yeah.
love the beach. I mean, that's all I did all summer was hop in my car and drive down to the shore. I'm about 45 minutes away from the shore area.
Mm.
So, in the summertime, I'm constantly down in the down at the shore on the beach. And man, if I could just live right across the street from the beach.
I say when we first moved to Florida, I moved to Orlando, and every opportunity we got, we were at a different beach, driving hours to get to a beach. The closest one was maybe an hour and a half away, but we're going 3 hours, 6 hours, like driving, exploring them all. Now I live walking distance to beaches, and we go maybe once every 3 months. I'm like, what? We've
That's
taken it for granted how, what other people are dreaming about. And it's
Yeah, that's
got to
true.
get
That's
out of that. We got to get out of that.
Yeah, that's true. And that's because you're used to it. You're right there. It's funny
Yeah, but I
because
love it.
yeah, I know. And it's funny you said that because I live right in the middle of Philadelphia and New York City. And people come all over the world just to come to Philadelphia and New York City. Now, it takes me what, 25 minutes. I'm outside of Philadelphia. It takes me about 25 minutes to go to Philadelphia. And if I want to go to New York City, it takes me if I drive, about an hour and 30 minutes.
Mhm.
So it's funny you said that we take the things for granted that we have, that people wish that they can have. So it's a blessing. And, I go to Philadelphia a lot. I love Philadelphia. I love New York City. I love the hustle and bustle. It's funny because I don't want to live in the hustle and bustle. I don't want to live in a city, but I
Yeah.
don't mind visiting the city. I like,
Yeah.
I'm a person at my age, I love a peace of mind. So I love the peace. I just love peace right now. If I want to hear all the noise, I could just go to the noise and then come home to where it's
Yeah.
quiet.
And get away
So
from it. Yeah.
yeah, I could
Yeah.
just get away from it. But yeah, I'm glad to have you on. My first question I want to ask you is could you share with the audience the journey that led you to become a psychologist and a festival creator?
Yeah, so those are two definitely separate things. Psychology, I've been working in psychology for about 17 years now, but festival owning is new to me this year. Um, and very different routes, but actually psychology led me to the festival in a weird about way. I didn't know I wanted to be a psychologist. Just the world pulled me to that direction. I originally went to school for medical school and I just wasn't quite where my heart was sitting. I mean, I love the gross stuff, but I don't like the death involved. so
Right.
so I kind of changed my plans and became a psychologist. Working with kids is what I always wanted, and so here we are working. I get to work a lot with kids, mostly sex trafficked children is my heavy hitter, but not exclusively what I work with.
Hmm.
And but we took some of my clients who after they became adults in the last couple years were talking about wanting to share their horror story of sex trafficking, and we meddled around with different ways that they can share their story but not necessarily have to be in the spotlight. Like we talked about like doing public speaking and things like that, but that's so much on them and they didn't feel like they were quite ready for that. So our next thing was we talked about like what about writing a book? Like that'd be cool to have a compilation of everybody's stories and journey. And we just didn't really feel like we had enough to make a book and how much effort would go into making a book versus what we got out of it. I'm still open to that idea. If they ever want to go back to that, I think a lot of people can learn. But we
Yeah.
decided to write a script and turn that into a film. So we kind of mushed those four women. It was just four women that, well, they're still children. It was when they were children, but it's they're women now. We kind of mush their stories together to make one character, um, and highlight some other characters throughout the movie. But so we turned it into a movie. It got made. It is available to watch. It's a hard watch because we filmed it. It's a based on true story, filmed as if you're really watching the situation. It's not filmed like a movie. It is filmed first person points of view and things like that.
Mhm.
It's called Abduction Chronicles. And I have high hopes that people learn from it, but in general, it's kind of just a creepy movie to watch, honestly.
Mhm.
But I submitted to film festivals and it was winning. It just actually won another one yesterday. I got notified that we won
Oh,
again.
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So we've won at a couple festivals. The actors I used were so freaking brilliant. Like, why are they not bigger household names yet? Because they were phenomenal. And I really hope that they grow too, because they're so good, all of them.
Mhm.
And so when we won at one festival, I talked to that festival about taking over, or not taking over, I apologize, about working for that festival. And they said, we're going to close the festival. So I bought some rights from them so we can continue their film portion, but we made it a media festival. So my festival is the Wolf Media Festival. It was formerly just the Wolf Film Festival. So now we're the Wolf Media Festival. We added a whole new topics. Podcasters can come. We're celebrating podcasters of all kinds, photographers, still films, still scripts, other writings, though. We got books coming in from worldwide, new authors, old authors. We're trying to launch people who create games, video games, board games. It hasn't really taken off yet, but I have hopes that we'll get some more creators for that. Social media content we accept. And we're hoping in the future that we can add more arts, more like sculptors, painters, drawers, those kind of things is the hope for the future with the festival.
Yeah, I guess as time passes, it would grow and it would get bigger and bigger.
That's
That's
my hope.
interesting. Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure it will. How about the clients that you work with? Are any of the clients in the film at all or no?
No, they were a part in writing the script, and one of them came to set. Only one of them was comfortable enough with coming to the set a couple of the days. But no, they didn't feel comfortable being in the film. Um, I, but honestly, most of the actors that we picked also had gone through trafficking as well, and I'm really proud of them for being able to get into these roles. For example, even the person who played the main bad guy was a trafficking victim for 13 years, and he still was able to come and play the opposite side. I think his thought process was hopefully this will teach somebody, and show them, but somebody's got to be the bad guy to showcase that these type of people exist. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we had really great actors, but no, the my clients were not.
Hmm. Now, some of these victims, a lot of these victims that are being sex trafficked, is this coming through social media? Because I would think that it's easy for someone to pretend to be someone on social media, because on social media you can be anything pretty much.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't know what, we really don't know what goes on behind the screens or behind these computers. And I would think that a lot of these predators would use social media as sex trafficking, picking up young women, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there's what is that show? To Catch a Predator. That's basically how they catch all of their people. Those aren't necessarily traffickers, but they are adults sexually abusing or taking advantage of what they think are children.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's a heavy thing. It's a big thing for sure. I can't say it contributes more than any other type of method of luring in people, but it's out there. It is an option as well, unfortunately. So and people don't think about because we're just thinking, social media or even back in the day, like using AOL chat rooms and things like that. But it goes in more into video games. Think about how often your child is on playing video games. They got their headsets on, they're chatting with strangers, adults, young people, of all ages coming on there. You don't know who they're chatting with. So that's why it's really important to actually follow those rules of putting the right age limits and limiting what your child can do on their social media accounts. It's just another layer of protection. It's not 100% foolproof
Right.
because creeps are still going to be creeps no matter what.
Yeah.
But yeah, so really, yeah, those are, I wouldn't say it's worse than any other method of trafficking, but it is definitely up there with a, as an option for traffickers to use. We gave them an easy access basically.
Now, what are they doing to lure these women in? I mean, it's not just girls who are sex trafficked. It's
Right.
a lot of people don't understand that it's boys that are sex trafficked as well. But
Yes.
what are they, what kind of incentive? What are they doing? How do they go about sex trafficking these children? Are they offering them like money or promising them a career in the
Also,
entertainment
yeah. I mean,
industry?
you're
There's
you're
a whole lot of, you know.
yeah, it's pretty much any option you can think of, that's what they're saying. A really common one in these coastal states is, well, I can't say just coastal states, but coastal states have a much higher rate of trafficking than center states do. But that doesn't mean it doesn't happen everywhere. I
Right.
guarantee that you've encountered at least one traffic person every single day and you don't realize that you're encountering them, and no
Hmm.
matter what state you live in. Um, but a really common one is luring people to parties. It takes the trafficker, doesn't have to get their hands dirty. They are just being like, you know what, you would be so awesome at this party. Come hang out with us tonight, And this is more directed at probably gay male teens and female teens. This is there's those are the targets they're gonna get there. Like, wow, you're so awesome. You should come hang out with us tonight.
Mm.
And yeah, you feel flattered, you're gonna go, right? Or you're feeling frisky, you want to go have fun, you want to have adult fun, hang out with these really cool adults you just met. Those traffickers didn't even have to take you. You walked right into their party. easy for them to drug you, easy for them to sell you. They didn't even get their hands dirty in the process. So that's like in the last 10, 15 years, that's been a pretty common method.
Mm-hmm.
But as you were mentioning, other really common methods are promising safety, promising jobs, promising futures. Um, Minorities
Mm-hmm.
and people of the LGBTQ communities, they're at highest risk because they are kind of discarded by society a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're coming in and you've just applied for 27 jobs and nobody wants to take you because maybe you're just not right for the job, but maybe because you also don't fit societally what they're saying, you're going to go to this person who says, I have a job for you. I
Mm-hmm.
have a way you can make money. They're going to offer you, you could even be, you and I right now, as these powerful, wonderful women, could get easily conned into something. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it would be so easy for them to say, I love your podcast. Why don't you come to this summit? We're doing a podcast summit for these great, we want to feature you, whatever. And you're thinking, like, oh, this is a chance for me to really get myself out there. And it's just it's a con. It's a long
Mm-hmm.
con, building you up. They're making you feel comfortable only to somehow use and abuse you later.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so trafficking isn't only sex. I think a lot of people think it's sex, but there's labor trafficking is very heavy in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say for other countries, but sex trafficking is heavy in every country.
Right.
Um, yeah, so they're finding methods. If they want you, they'll find a way to get into you. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not just I think most people think it is a kidnapping. It's you are alone at night walking where you shouldn't have been walking. Some van pulls up next to you, puts a bag over your head, and boom, now you're a trafficking victim. I mean, I'm sure that happens or happened some at some point,
Right.
but the chances of that are really, really limited. It's going to be something way out in the open. It's going to be where you
At
don't
least
see it
expect
coming.
things that you would least expect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, where it looks safe and comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they want to be too. It looks safe and comfortable for them as well. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a scary way to look at the world, but when like if I take my child to the theme park, you better believe me, knowing what I know in the field I work in, that my youngest son is holding my hand the whole
Mm.
time. He don't get to run around. He don't get to ride a ride without me. If he's not in my view, then we're going home. That's it.
Right.
You cross that boundary. We need to leave now because I want you to be safe here.
Mm-hmm.
That's everywhere. And thankfully I have other children as well, but they're giant now. My oldest boys have a
Yeah.
6'3", 16-year-old. I'm like, I'm kind of feel like you're safe now. Like
Right.
you're here to protect me now. But
Right.
yeah, my older kids I'm less worried about, but they also had me as a mom
Mm.
constantly preaching to them what to look out for. Like not
Yeah,
everybody has that.
that's
And
true.
sometimes they
Especially big name people. It's
mm,
easy for them to sex traffic. If they have a name brand company or
yeah.
if they're a celebrity,
Yep.
it's easy to get sex trafficked that way as well, because you trust these people based on their name, their
Everybody loves
celebrity.
them.
Yeah, everybody loves them. Or a company, say for instance, a Puma event or Nike. Everybody wear Pumas. A lot of people wear Nikes. It's easy
Mm-hmm.
to get sex trafficked. Not saying, let me just put it out there. I'm not saying
Disclaimer.
that's what Nike and Puma is doing. I don't want them to get the wrong idea, but I'm just using this as an example that it's easy to get sex trafficked that way because people trust these people, these celebrities, and they trust these name
Mm-hmm.
brand companies.
Yep, yep, that's true. And not just it doesn't even have to be a celebrity, but somebody who seems well off in life, you're gonna believe them. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're doing well. What do they have to gain by harming me? They're already doing so great.
Right.
Well, they're doing so great because they've caused harm, or they think that because they're doing so great that it's okay for them to cause harm now. That's a bigger, more likely that scenario
Right.
is you get to a certain point in life and you feel like you're untouchable. Yeah, don't mess with the people who think they're untouchable. You're better off. You're better off.
Yeah, that's true. Now let's talk about your filmmaking career. How do you balance your work as a filmmaker and a festival director with your responsibility as a single mom? I know it's not easy, you know, trying to balance a career and being a single mother
Yeah,
and
yeah. So
balance and having a special need child because you do have a special need child, right?
actually, yeah, so let me clarify a few things. I am no longer a single mom. I am married now.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Congratulations.
yes, thank you,
Somebody done
thank you.
snatched you up, huh?
Yeah, I finally agreed to somebody. And sometimes I'm like, why did I do that? Even though he's perfect, I'm like, I've been doing so great for almost 40 years. I don't know why I caved now, but he's wonderful.
Oh,
Um,
that's good.
but yeah, actually, I have all three of my children do have some sort of special needs. My oldest has autism. And it's his superpower, though. Let me tell you, get you a kid like this. You tell him something once, that's all he knows how to do that thing. You
Right.
say, you load the dishwasher at 7 o'clock every night it's going to be loaded. It's like he
Wow.
doesn't know how to veer off path. So
Right.
I'm like, this is the best thing that ever happened to anybody.
Right.
Um,
Right.
my 16-year-old has something called Addison's disease. So his adrenal glands don't function, which you kind of think like, oh, okay, I don't know what that does. But if your adrenal glands don't function, your organs don't work. So we have to constantly keep his cortisol levels at a certain rate. He is constantly passing out, constantly fainting. Um, it's so weird. Like the best thing you can do if you have adrenal issues is eat salt. So he eats a lot of salt.
Mm.
Yeah, it sounds
Wow.
backwards for most people. You're thinking like lay off the salt a bit.
Right.
He has to consume more salt and less sugar than the normal balance of people.
Mm-hmm.
And my youngest, well, he's doing fabulous, but he had a rough life to start. He's only 6, and of course, his dad's out of the I've never kept a man around very long
Good.
by choice. But
Right.
he had he was born with some health issues, respiratory distress syndrome, and very underdeveloped lungs. He had his systolic vomiting syndrome, so his stomach actually works in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
So he eats and it just comes out. He eats, it just comes out.
So he can't hold food on his stomach.
Now he can. For about 2 years, we've been completely medicine free, completely tube fed free. It's been quite amazing to see, and he puts on weight now. Like
Oh,
it was
okay.
scary for a while, like between his lungs and inability to hold food down.
Right.
But it would be so weird because he would go like even when he was a baby, it'd be like 3 weeks of just like perfect everything working fine, and so you're like, okay, he must be over this phase.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it's just nonstop again, just vomiting, vomiting, like everything. Or a big thing the doctor told me like was a sign that I should have known was he would put food in his mouth, chew it, and then take it out. Like
Mm.
his own body told him, don't, that's not the way to go. Don't swallow that.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so he was on medication and some other things for about his first 4 years of life, and like the
Yeah.
last 2 years he's been good, and he's still underweight, but not you wouldn't if you looked at him he looks healthy. So but
Uh,
he had a rough go, and now he's doing great. He's a wild man. He is a wild man. He's
yeah.
got all the energy. But yeah, so balancing all that motherhood and all these businesses, I can't stop either. I think I was a single mom for over a decade, nearly 2 decades. I was a single mom, and when I say single mom, I mean 100% me. There wasn't child support, there wasn't a dad on the weekend, there wasn't a grandma on the weekend. It wasn't if I went to work, my kids went to work with me if they weren't in school. And it was literally a solo project for me. And if you're going to survive like that, you have to constantly be going, going, going. And I've
Mm-hmm.
kind of gotten in the bad habit of not knowing how to not be going.
Yeah.
So my balance isn't really a very healthy balance, but it
Mm-hmm.
is, that I make most of every minute I have. And right now I haven't filmed anything. I haven't written a script in over a year. But I have scripts out there. I have a series that got picked up over COVID. lockdown, it got picked up, and I am just waiting for us to start filming that. But it was just like it got picked up right before COVID. So COVID lockdown shut things down. Then there was the actor strike. Then there was the writer strike. There's like all these things.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for that one to start going because that's when I feel like it's gonna it's gonna do big things for the world. I hope that's fingers
Yeah.
crossed. But yeah, so balancing is just really making most of every minute that you have and finding a way to fulfill each moment for sure.
Yeah. Wow. I'm just thinking psychologist and filmmaker. It's like you would never think that for those yeah, I think you're the first person that I've met who I've been around a lot of psychologists lately, a lot of therapists, a lot
Mm,
of
mhm,
doctors. I was just talking to a guest I had on my podcast who suffered with PTSD.
mm.
I was just telling him that for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been surrounding myself around a lot of doctors, psychologists, mental health advocates, but never a psychologist who was a filmmaker. So this is
For
this is
me,
different.
I'm somehow I'm the same. I've never run into this before, but to me it makes so much sense because a big part of our job is like analyzing and
Mm,
reorganizing the way things work in our brains and our surroundings, and
yeah.
it just makes so much sense for me to have so many stories to share that lead into how we're reorganizing or how we catalog people and all those things. So like
Hmm.
coming up with characters is so easy. Uh Giving commands on how to act in the director's point of view, like showing I have a different lens than a lot of people because of my education. But now how can I portray that behind the camera so that other people are feeling the same thing? To me, it just makes so much sense that filmmakers should start in psychology and then move to
and then
filmmaking.
and then make films. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's something. Never thought about that. And how long have you been into creating film? Are you a writer too? Do you write your own scripts for these films and then you cast people into the films?
yeah. So I've actually only made one of my own films where I cast everybody, where I produced the film, where I directed the film and I wrote along with my clients and wrote the film. I've written a couple scripts. I've been in other people's films. I actually started a long time ago. Um, right out of high school, I started modeling, and then I was in music videos and things like that for a
Mhm.
few years there. And I think that kind of also opened my eyes onto like possibilities of where I
Okay.
can go, what I could do, who I could be, kind of thing. And I think for a long time too, I never really thought that if I'm a psychologist, I can continue my creative work. It kind of was a weird finding of it. I think until I was writing a lot. I was always writing scripts and selling them and things like that. But actually making my own film, I think it was my clients who wanted their story to be told to make me feel like I'm the person to do that for you.
Mm,
Otherwise, I don't think I would. But writing scripts I've been doing for maybe 15 or so years, been writing on scripts, helping on other scripts and projects and things. Yeah, so yeah,
yeah.
kind of just have your if you don't have your fingers in a bunch of different things, you're missing on opportunities, I think. But
That's true, because I've done a lot of things in my life. Let me tell you. I was in three major motion films. I worked in
nice.
Fallen with Denzel Washington. I worked in Beloved with Oprah Winfrey and
Yeah, wow.
worked in Snake Eyes with Nicolas Cage. And
Wow.
these, I was an extra. I didn't have a major, you know, if you blink, you might miss me,
You're right,
But
right.
the experience, and then I did a bunch of independent films, and this was back in the day in the early '90s when I was trying to pursue a career actually in modeling,
Mm,
because I wanted to be a print model, I went to school I went to Barbizon School of Modeling, graduated,
mm,
and I couldn't find a job because they were looking for these tall, skinny women who starved to death, runway models and things of that nature. And I was like, I'm not trying to be a runway model. I just want to be a
Mhm.
print model, show my face, let me advertise a product. And then I ended up being featured in over 27 magazines,
Man.
in love story magazines. And they always put me as the bad girl. I was always stealing somebody's
Oh,
man in the story. And I was like, why am I always stealing somebody's man on a
yeah.
cruise? You know, and I'm like,
Because you're seductive. That's why.
maybe I got that seductive look, but I was always stealing somebody man. And I was like,
That's so funny. When I was looking at your Instagram a couple days ago, and I was just like, does she know how to not be cute? Because like every picture of you, I'm like, oh my God, she's so cute. Oh my God, she is so cute. Every single picture, I was like, she's adorable. I want to be her best friend. Like you are absolutely stunning. So when you said modeling, I was like, I knew it. I knew it. She's got that. She's got that vibe about her. You got that look. Yes.
yeah, I almost landed a cover magazine in New York City. I didn't get it. I was so disappointed, but just being able to have the opportunity to experience those things, being on a movie set. I couldn't believe I was in a major motion picture. Like I was standing next to Denzel Washington, and I'm thinking I was like, I'm dreaming right now. I
Yeah.
cannot believe that I'm here. you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
and yeah, and at the time I was married. I'm divorced. It's been I got divorced back in the year 2000, but at the time I was married. My kids were small, and I was trying to balance this the career in a film. I mean, in modeling and film. And I just stopped because I was like, I need to put my full focus into my kids. Let them raise them, and now they're
Yeah.
adults and they're on their own, and now I'm podcasting and I'm still doing
Yeah.
I'm doing things that I enjoy right now in my
Yeah.
life, but you're right, you have to experience a lot of different things in life in order to know actually what you're good at.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
I
No.
started. I also did some freelance journalism also too, and that's why I decided to go into podcasting because working for a local TV station in Trenton, New Jersey. I grew up in Trenton, New Jersey, and there was this local television show called the Nubian News, and we would come on every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, and that was the first time that I was able to experience journalism. And eventually they would send me out backstage and I would go to all these concerts and I'm interviewing all these celebrities behind. So this is not new to me. This podcast and stuff is not new. I'm experienced at it. I'm experienced of being backstage, interviewing celebrities, interviewing independent people, celebrities, things of that nature. So, it's not new. So I had to get back into it when my kids became adults. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is where I belong right here.
Well, when you find that thing that just feels so good, like your body, you crave it forever, like,
Yes.
and that I feel like that's the same. Like, for me, I don't think I could be into model. I could not be a model again. Like, that's not, I don't have the vibe anymore. But that
Hmm.
creativity of some of the things that we used to do, I'm like, oh, can I just do something? Can I just be on set while somebody else is doing that? Because it's like it's in my chest all times. Just
Right.
and I think that's part of like wanting this festival is just getting to be a part of watching all these people grow and express their creativity and express like their expertise. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's this like it once you get those that thing that fits you, once you find it, there's nothing that'll ever fulfill you again.
That
Like,
is so true. You
yep,
crave it. It
you
becomes,
crave it.
it becomes a passion. Like I love podcasting. I love, and basically this podcast is based on mental health and wellness. And I like the title. Let's talk about this because basically I could talk about anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But although I am a mental health and wellness advocate, through my own struggles of mental health issues and the issues that were passed down into my family. It was a blessing for me to be able to even have this podcast because I was like, you know what? I'm breaking a curse in my family. I'm breaking the
good.
mental health it, illnesses that go on throughout my family. And and my kids watch this, my grandkids watch this. Even though I don't look like a grandmother, I know When I
I
tell people,
know, again, when I was on your Instagram and I was looking at how cute you are and everything, and then there was some pictures of your granddaughters and it said something like, I was like, "Oh, who are these?" And I read it and it was like my beautiful grandbabies or what, and I was like, because they're not even like little. They were like teenagers or
they're in
maybe
their
young adults.
20s.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, what the F is happening right now? Like, who is this lady? Was she 4 when she had her first child? Like, what's happening right now?
Yeah, I started early. I was really early when I had my first child. I was 17. But
Mm,
it's funny because my oldest granddaughter is 22.
mm,
And it's funny because when we're out together, everybody thinks she's my daughter. And when she calls me grand, because they call me grandma, and when they call me grandma, people in the store be looking around like, did she just call her grandma?
mm. Is that a weird nickname? What is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, so it's a blessing to age gracefully, be able to age and see my oldest granddaughter. I can't believe I went to see she graduated from high school. I was at her graduation, and here she is now in college. And actually, they're in college. Two of my granddaughters are in college for, I think one is doing psychology, and the other one, I know it's something that has to do with the medical field, psychology, psychiatrist, or something like that. But
Mm,
that's what they're actually in the same field
good for
that you're
them.
in right now. Yeah.
Good.
And my oldest granddaughter, I think she wanted to start out like you. She wanted to counsel children. And I think it's important to start as in with the children, you know what I mean? Because that's where it
Yeah.
all begins anyway.
Yep.
That's where all the problems start, when you're a child, so
Yep. Well, I feel like now, I mean, I can't really judge from before I was born, but I feel like a real problem that I see, especially living in Florida, is parents don't know how to parent. So we need to start before the kid's even born.
right.
This state, I've worked in many different states, but I've been here. So I think I've lived in Florida 7 years or 8 years, not consecutively, but about 6 years consecutively. And um, I've never ran into so many people who don't know how to care for their children and who are there's so much entitlement in this area. And
Mm,
in the county I live in isn't as bad as other counties that I've been to even. But yeah, if we could start, if you can go in knowing how to be a good person yourself, imagine what that's going to be like for the children that you have and the
yeah.
grandchildren that you have. And I get it, with no matter what situation you come from, you probably got something to work on. Like it's okay that we have faults, but just
Right.
imagine if you try to work on those faults instead of being like expecting somebody else to cater around you and give you what you want, or just always think of the children in the long run.
Yeah.
What it's going to be for your child and your grandchild and that child's grandchild. Like you were saying, you're right now, you are overcoming generational traumas and mental health issues and all those. And how many years did those happen? And how much did that actually hold your entire family back?
Right.
Because just now you are the first one to be able to break out of this cycle. And it's a long road for you. I
It
mean, I'm
is.
assuming that your children didn't just have it easy because you're like, oh, I don't like this
Mm-hmm.
negativity. Let's make it easy for like they didn't have it easy just because you decided to break it. And your
Right.
grandchildren still might have it easier than your children had it, but
Right.
they're not coasting on life right now because
Right.
it takes so much work. But imagine if your parents before you put in work and your
Yeah.
parents before or their parents before them, how much easier your life would have been and how much it would be better for your grandbabies. Like
That's
it's a
true.
lot of work. It is so much work, but it's got to start somewhere. Might
It's
as well
got
be.
to start somewhere. Somebody got to break the chain,
Yeah.
and that's you're right. We have to, because we all were raised in household. A lot of us were raised in a household where we didn't talk about a lot of things that went on. A lot of us witnessed our parents being abused. A lot of children have been abused. A lot of children have been molested, raped, or
Mhm.
whatever, and they never talked about it.
Yeah.
They held those things in all these years, and it gets passed on to the next generation. And that's why I'm so passionate about mental health and wellness, because we have to break these chains. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We can't keep passing this trauma on to our children and their children and their children, you know, it just keeps going on and on and on. And we have to really make it a normal to talk about this stuff. And you know, when you grow up in a household where you didn't talk about therapy or going to counseling or anything, we just dealt with it and it just kept going on about our lives. But I also realized that it affects you not only later on in life, but it also affects everything around you. It affects your relationships.
Yeah,
You know, it affects all aspects of your life. And that's why I'm so passionate about this, you know, and that's why I'm an advocate. And that's why you know, I base this podcast on mental health and wellness, you know, because, you know, we need to normalize talking about these things, you know. It's,
agreed. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
even still today, it is very hush hush. You don't, it's, it's so hard to want to admit that you or your family could be the wrongdoing in the world. So like if let's just say I don't have daughters, but let's just say my husband, he's my first and only husband, but let's say he decided to do something to my daughter. It would be so hard to admit that I picked the wrong guy, that my daughter's actually hurting, that this person I let into our house could ever think that way. What's wrong with me that I would be attracted to somebody who could, it's a lot of, but at the end of the day, I know me as a person, I was single so long, I know I could do it. A lot of
Mm,
women don't know that they can do it. So they're
right.
kind of, that's another thing is if I left my husband right now, I probably can't keep this house I'm living in. I'm going to have to try to figure out how am I going to afford to pay for all my children and go back to, getting food. Like now we have food on the table every night,
That's true. I'm
you know?
glad you brought that up. That's a very important point. That is so, and the audience need to hear this because you're right. A lot of people stay in these relationships because they think of it as they think about the finances. I know when I went through my divorce back in 2000, that was the first thing I went through. That was the first thing that went through my head was, okay, now how am I going to afford to keep my apartment? How am I
Yep.
going to afford to take care of my children? Now I got to start all over, you know. And
Yep.
people stay in abusive relationships simply for financial reasons,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I got to the point where I said, "The hell with this shit. I'm getting out of this relationship, even if I got to start all over." And that's what I did. I said, "I'm starting all over," but I had to be thankful that I had a best friend, a good friend, and she's still my friend today. We've been friends ever since we were 14. She was there for me. You know, I told her, I was like, look, I went down, I remember going down to the welfare office. And when I went down there and they told me how much money they was going to give me a month, like $300 a month. I said, are you kidding me? My rent is $800 a month. I
Yeah,
can't
that's
live off of
nothing.
300. I just refused to depend on the state. So my best friend, I told her, I said, look, if you let me borrow your car to go find a job, I'll put gas in it and I'll pay you just so I could go find a job, you know, to keep a roof over me and my kids' head. And that's what went through my mind because it was more so my happiness was more important to me than staying in a relationship
Mhm.
just because of finances and money. Because you have some men who are controlling financially and you know they will feel like that, oh, because I'm the breadwinner I can mistreat you or I could do anything to you and you have to
Yep.
accept it. And I was like, oh hell no, not this woman. I'm a queen. First of all,
Yeah.
I come from a family of queens. All the women in my family are queens, and we refuse to lay down and just, you know,
Yep.
accept that, you know.
Yep.
So that's
For
where my strength came from.
yeah, for me, my so I'm the first female in my family to graduate high school, and then I'm the first family member ever to go to college and get a degree. And my parents were also teenage parents and their parents before them and so on and so forth. Like my great grandparents are, only 2 decades older than me. They're
Right, right.
like people could think that my grandparents are my siblings. We're so close in age. Um, but I already came into this world like bullheaded, I guess, because I was like not gonna be that thing I was going to finish, and I was going to be special in some way. I was going to make a difference in our family. And I think my mom, although she's not like, we're not super tight, super close or anything, I think she was like an advocate for me to want to be that, like watching my mom struggle.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying my dad had it easy. He was also a teen parent, but he wasn't the
Right.
one raising us. He wasn't the one like there every day for us until, I was a teenager before he was a part of my life. But
Right.
I'm sure he had his own thing going on. But I saw my mom struggling, 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 bad thing after bad thing, and her just having to pick herself up. And we're going to try this again. We're going to try this again for the
Yeah.
sake of me and my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
But so when I got to a certain age, and I'm just like, I'm living the best life. And then when I got pregnant with my son and had my first son, and then while I was pregnant with my second son, same father, but we weren't married, but they had the same father. I found out that he was cheating. But not only was he cheating, I was actually the other woman. He was married, had a whole family somewhere else. And to me, I always felt like when I started dating him, that was my weakness. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was already holding me back. I felt like I'm not going to be something because I have to revolve around this dude's life. And I
Right.
liked him. He was never physically abusive or any sexually abusive to me. He was very sweet. Like, don't get that wrong, but that's part of being a manipulator is
Right.
being kind to the people you're manipulating.
Yep.
But so when I don't think I even knew I was pregnant with my second son yet. And when I found out that not only was he cheating, I am the one he's cheating with, like I am the other woman. I just kind of realized like I can never trust a single word. I don't care if when he says he loves me, he means it. It's
Mm-hmm.
not real. He lied to me about everything over the last 6 years. I've held myself back from doing all these things I wanted to do for this person. Now, everything in my life was a lie, no matter how truthful it was.
Mm.
It was a lie. And so I just boom out of there. I was just done with him. And then that was it. That was no more him. That's why I did it all on my own because I didn't want to have to battle him. I didn't want to have to risk sharing a life with him still. And my kids going to him. And it's to me, they weren't our kids, they are my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's why I just did it on my own. But then our life grew once I got his my brain back. I mean, I broke. I wasn't like, oh, I'm just gonna go out here and do this. I was broke for a while. My brain
Yeah.
was broke. I was sad all the time. I was having a hard time comprehending, reality and all what's real is anything that anybody says is real. And this
Mm-hmm.
world is a gross place that I have to raise this child in. It was just my oldest child. And then through all that heartbreak, I found out I was pregnant with my second, and I was just like, what do I now? I have two of them that I have to do
Right.
this with, and I was so, I never would have thought I could even be pregnant because I was so skinny and heartbroken. I was nursing on top
Mm-hmm.
of not being able to eat, so I was like 100 pounds.
Yeah.
You can't get
Yeah.
pregnant when you're only 100 pounds. Like,
Right. Right.
I'm too skinny for this. But yeah, so I never saw that coming, and then it was just like a thing, got to pick myself up, got to figure out life, and we could do this, and
Right.
we did it, and we made it. And sometimes you have to make that hard decision of getting rid of people you care about. But I get that it's not always easy. Some other people who have one, two, five children might say, I have to keep getting punched in the face every day for the sake of my children. For
Mm.
that, for
Yeah.
me, staying in heartache every day was not how I wanted my kids to be raised.
Yeah. And
But
you don't
I
want your
do,
kid and you don't want your kids to see that. You
yeah,
know what I
think
mean?
that
If they
stuff's
see
okay. Yeah.
yeah, they feel, you don't want your daughter seeing you being physically abused and thinking it's okay to be beat up by a man and that's
Mm,
the way a man is supposed to treat a woman, and you don't want your son to even see the fact that that's the way he's supposed to treat a woman. I have
yeah.
one son and one daughter, and and it's funny because when I became a single parent, I had to be both people. Like I had to tell my son what to look for when it came down to women because I'm a woman and I know how women think. Some women can be devious, some women can be manipulative, some women can take advantage of you. And then I had to tell my daughter some men can do the same thing. So I had to be both things as a single parent. And
Mhm.
but you don't want, like you said, you don't want your kids, you know, raised and seeing you being. I went through that, I went through that. My mother, seeing my mother being abused physically by my dad, and then I was in a short-term physical abusive relationship. It was short-term though, because after a while I turned around and I whooped his ass, and I was like,
You
I was
get what
like,
you get, bud.
yeah,
Goes around, comes around. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. What goes around comes around, because it got to that point where I got fed up, and then that was it, So I had to do what was best, not only for me, but I had to do what was best for my children, you know.
Yeah.
And we have to think about those things, when it comes down to being in abusive relationships.
Just getting into a relationship at all is scary. You literally could meet how many times did we actually pass Prince Charming because we dated the devil in the past.
Ah,
Now we're looking at every guy
now we're
like
looking at
you
every
have devil horns, you have I know that halo's fake. Each person that passes us, we might have passed up so many good people because of the bad people in our lives. It's just
because yeah,
but you have to. Sometimes you have to pass up the good if it's going to, keep you protected, keep your family protected, and
yeah.
that's what's most important. But
I think I got set in my ways now. I'm in my 50s. I'm in my middle 50s, and I've been single for a little while, and I'm enjoying my single life, to be honest with
good,
you.
yeah,
I really am enjoying my single life. I enjoy just being able to get up, do what I want, travel wherever I want, go to restaurants, do whatever. I mean, and my kids are adults, and they live on their own, and I have all this freedom now. So it's like I'm enjoying. I don't think I could be committed. Not to say I would never be committed.
hmm
Maybe I will meet someone eventually, but right now I'm having fun.
right.
I'm
I
having
I
fun right now.
I'm so looking. I dread and look forward to the day that my youngest is an adult because I'm gonna miss him being my little baby. But I'm like, if I could just go do the things that I want to be doing right now and not have to tote around, and
Right.
my kids have always been super easy, well-behaved kids, but still, it's that extra lugging around,
Yeah.
extra money I got to spend because it's
Yeah.
not just me. I'm a little bit envious of your life, although I do love my life as well.
Yeah. Well, you'll get there. It takes time because they don't stay young forever. Let me tell
I
you, they
know.
grow up so fast.
Have you
And
noticed I feel like a trend now though is the younger people don't really want to be dating. Are your grandchildren dating?
you know what? My granddaughter was dating a guy who she dated a guy that I didn't like,
Mhm.
because I didn't, you know, we've been here before. I'm 57 years old, and let me tell you, I've experienced a lot in my life. I've seen a lot in my life. And although our children and our grandchildren don't think we've seen these things or we experience these things, we try to tell them before they experience it. And I just seen something in him that I didn't like. And I told my granddaughter, I said, be careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, she dated for a certain, but right now she's not into dating. Right now she went through that relationship, and now she's focused on her career. She's in college. She's focused on what she needs to do for herself. So I'm happy
Yeah.
about that.
I feel like that's a real common thing I see now. I hardly see younger people date, or if they're dating, it's super casual. People
Mhm.
aren't looking for their life partner anymore.
No.
They
This is
want to focus on their careers, they want to focus on their fun. And I'm like, yes, do that for a while. Get it out of your system and get ready, before you take these big giant steps, get all this other stuff out so you are actually ready. So I love this current trend I'm seeing. I think it's so helpful.
Yeah, yeah. I think people should experience life, go through life, and not jump into relationships so fast. I don't
Yeah.
even see adults come relationships like I used to back. Back in the day, we had We had, people stayed together for a long period of time. Like today, I don't see a lot of that, you
Well,
know?
I kind of feel like it was women were more trapped back in the day though too. They
Yeah,
didn't
that's
have as
true.
many options. Not saying that women have it easy, not saying men have it easy now either, but
Yeah.
that back in the day I think it was just like you were looked at as extra trash if
Mm,
you tried to leave and you didn't have the options that you have now. So that I think
mm.
that's a big part of it too is
Yeah.
people are just learning like I don't have to put up with this and I have options now, which I think is great. I think if people realize that I
Mm,
could leave you because I have options, then maybe you won't be such a jerk in the first
right.
place, or you might not do these bad things because we're going to work together to keep us together instead of one-sided relationship. So,
Yeah, where you was
yeah.
forced to actually, well, I don't want to say forced, but you just stayed into the relationship, because you
Yeah.
felt like
I
you
mean,
had
because
to.
not all relationships end because of abuse. Like sometimes
Right.
it's just you grew in different directions, but you still stay because, because I financially I have to, or I
Right.
feel like at this point it's ridiculous to
Mm-hmm.
leave. I made it this long. I might as well keep going. But like we don't have to do that anymore. Like
No.
nobody has to. We have options. And I think even if you went into a relationship thinking like my goal is 4 years. I'm like, cool. Then that's your
Yeah.
that's your goal. In 4 years, you find you something new. As long as you're safe and happy and healthy, those are the things that really matter for
That
everybody.
yeah. And right now today, women are getting to the bag. Women are making their own money,
Yes.
and right now women ain't putting up with a lot of the bull crap no more, you know.
Yep.
We just keeping it moving,
I
because
hope we
you
can
got
continue that. I hope we can continue that.
yes, exactly, exactly. Because you got some ego, not all men, but you have some men who are just egotistical. They feel like a woman needs them. I heard, it's funny, I overheard this conversation where this guy, I was in the store, and this guy was having a sort of like a debate with the woman that he was with in the store, and he said something about he's what did he say to her? He said something. I overheard the conversation, but I was like, yeah, tell him. I was on the other side of the aisle. I was ear hustling on the other side of the aisle.
Yeah.
He was telling her that she needed him and this and that, and he be glad when she gets out of the or she gets out of their relationship. And then she was saying, well, I'll be glad to get out of a relationship too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
this could
Good for
go this
her.
could go both ways, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's not like I need you.
So, but yeah, some of the, I mean, I'm not saying women can't be entitled to, but man, some of the videos I see of men just like losing it over that they can't play their 12th hour of video games today or, whatever their thing is. And women, or, like I saw a video the other day. This was an older couple, but the woman said in their whatever 60 something years of marriage, she has always served her husband dinner. He has never made his own plate. So today she was gonna have him make his own plate. He lost it. She even
Wow.
had the food. It was like all right there. It wasn't like he had to go make the food. He just had to
Right.
put it on his own plate and he lost it. And I'm just thinking like she made all that food for you and then reading the comments on that video of people being like, you should respect your man. He
Right.
worked hard all day and I'm like, they're in their 80s. He did not work hard all day.
Right.
They better not. I hope to God that neither of them worked hard all day when they're that age. But,
Right. Right.
just, yeah, there is a lot of entitlement. I do
Yeah.
feel like it comes more from men, but I'm not saying it's only men. There's a lot of entitled women out there
Yeah,
too.
there's a lot of entitled women out there too. Yeah, I've seen some women who had good men and they mistreat them. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, you know what? You got a good man. Why would you mistreat this man? He's giving you everything you ask for and you still ain't happy. And I said to myself, that man is good because let me tell you, ain't no way in the world I could keep giving you and giving
Yeah.
you and
Yeah.
you ain't appreciative of what I'm doing. Like
Yep.
it's to me that's unbalanced. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's like you're trying to please the other person, but what about you? What about yourself? Why are you just trying to, in this relationship to make the other person happy? But don't you deserve happiness too? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, I do. There's probably a really small group of people who maybe their kink is pleasing other people only and that's it. But
Yeah,
yeah, I do feel bad. I mean, I have seen that a lot of women just overtaking the men and kind of taking them for granted.
yeah,
But I it's yeah, it's a weird balance. Those nice guys, they do exist. I'm glad they exist for sure.
yeah,
But come on, ladies,
yeah.
let's treat those nice guys nice so that we
Right.
get more of them. We need more of them in the world.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I enjoy my single life. Now I'm at the point where if I need to give myself something, I buy myself something. If I need to travel somewhere, I'll hop on a flight and I'll go.
Love it.
I'm just not looking to settle down and be committed, you know. And now with all these sex toys now, you don't even need a
I
man
know.
nowadays.
Yeah.
You can give your own self an orgasm, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
because that's all you're looking for when you're in a relationship anyway, is an orgasm. I mean,
Yeah, I'd say
it lasts for how many seconds? And then,
yeah, that's like another thing that's not fair is like it's so quick. All that work
oh,
for and most of the time when you're with a man, let's be I mean, I love my husband. He does a
right,
great job, but how often is he getting to have that versus how often I'm getting to have that, Like that's
right,
not fair. That's not
right,
you could pay the bills, honey, because I didn't get mine last night, but you did. I earned this house I live in.
right. I know that's right. Let's talk about you being a guinea pig sanctuary. What in the world is that? When I saw this, I was like, what? She's a
Y-
guinea pig sanctuary. You
Yeah,
got to explain this.
I have a rescue for guinea pigs, and
Okay.
it's a little different than like what a rescue really is, though. We are a sanctuary, so they come to us and they stay with us. We don't find them new homes. They come and they hopefully live a happy life here until they pass away. The
Mhm.
only exception that we do have is if an owner say they're a military owner, they get shipped overseas and couldn't take their pet with them. Once they come back, they have the rights to take their pet back. Any
Okay.
other one that comes to us is with us forever. We don't breed, we don't sell, we don't rehome. We get all sorts of cases. There was the hurricanes a couple months ago, so we are jam packed with displaced guinea pigs. We have a guinea pig in a wheelchair at the moment.
Oh,
And yeah, I get a lot. This is the two most common things I get when people hear about that I have a guinea pig rescue is they either like, did you know other cultures eat guinea pigs? And why don't you just let them go in the wild?
mhm.
And yeah, I know other cultures eat guinea pigs, but we eat cows and we eat chicken, like
Right,
I'm like, I don't care. We're not that culture.
right,
Um, and if they do, that's their thing. Like that doesn't bother me. Just the same way it doesn't bother me that other people eat cows. It doesn't bother me that somebody eats a guinea pig, but we don't. We
right.
keep them as pet. But also, these are domesticated ones that couldn't survive in the wild. We don't have the climate for what they need, and they've been domesticated that they don't know how to survive. So we're just here to give them, a good life until they pass. And we've had some. We've had one for about she's about 8 years old,
Okay,
and they usually only live to be about 5.5 to 6 years old.
right.
So she's an old lady, and every day I think today's going to be her last day. And I've been thinking that for 2 years now, and
Yeah.
we've
Oh,
had her for years and years, and yeah, we have it. But most of them, I'd say on average, they usually pass away around 5.5 to 6 years old, and yeah, well, just a love, just decided to do it out of love. I would love if we
yeah,
could be able to do something like this for like dogs and, other
yeah,
pets, but guinea pigs is what we had room for, so we decided
yeah, yeah. I know how I feel about my dog. So, if you have a love for pets, man, I didn't realize how much I love dogs until I got
yeah.
him. Let me show you him, matter of fact. He's sitting right here. He's a little palm, and
Oh my gosh, look at you. I thought he was going to be a redhead. Hi, bud.
he's all black.
Hello.
I got so lucky when I got him. When I walked in the shelter,
He's so
uh,
cute. Looks like a little bear.
he was in a cage right in front of me when I walked into the shelter. And I told the ladies in the shelter, I said, that dog right there, that's the one I want. And it was like he was in a cage, like, come and get me, like he was jumping up and down, and I'm like, I didn't want to see any other dogs. So the ladies in the shelter, they told me, they said, well, we have some people who are looking at him. We have to put you on a list, and we can get back to you in 2 days. And I said, okay, put me on a list. If I don't get him, I don't get him. If I do, I'll be happy. So they called me 2 days later, and they told me he was there. So I ran back in Philadelphia, as a matter of fact. It was a shelter in Philadelphia. I jumped in my car and I ran down there and I got him. And these dogs are expensive, but I got lucky and I only paid $200 for him. And
Oh, nice.
he came with the shot records. He came with a chip. He has a chip inside of him,
Mm,
and he came neutered. So, and
nice.
we've
Yeah,
been
that's a good
tight
deal.
ever since. And now he thinks he's my boss.
Yeah,
Look at him. He's he knows I'm talking about him. He's sitting here wagging his tail.
that's so cute. We have two dogs as well. We have one that we got from a rescue shelter and one just from a dog rescue. And yeah, we have a Great Dane, so he's huge.
Oh,
And
those are big dogs. Yeah.
yeah, he's a big guy. He's literally Scooby-Doo. He's like
Mhm.
afraid of the most random things, but you can lure him over with a Scooby snack so easily.
Yeah.
He's taller than the counters, so he likes to like when I'm cooking, he'll try to like look inside the pots and stuff, and I'm like, "You're gonna burn yourself. Get back."
Right.
He's a sweet giant goofball. He's so friendly, and he thinks he's a lap dog. He's 180-pound lap dog.
Uh-huh.
And we have a what is she? She's a pit bull mix, but I can't remember what she's mixed with. But anyway, she's afraid of everything.
Yeah.
She was she had to have been abused before we got her. She is so
Oh,
but
I
she's
can't see how people can abuse
I don't
dog
get it.
animals. Because now that I have one, and I've gotten so I treat him like I treat one of my children.
Yeah.
I mean, he has clothes. I don't, I used to put an outfit on him every day, but he don't seems to. He's not. He don't seem to like the outfits. I put a t-shirt on him, and he just
Yeah,
he
yeah.
doesn't seem to, he likes to be free. And so I don't put clothes on him every day. Every once in a while I'll put a jersey on him or something like that. But they're like our kids. I mean,
Yep.
I take them to the doctor on a regular, as when I first got him, I had a hard time figuring out what he liked to eat because he's very picky. So I went through a bunch
So
of
cute.
dog food that I threw away or either gave away, and the only dog food he will eat is Caesars, and that's about it. Or he'll eat table food. He loves table food, but I don't
Mm,
want him to eat table food all the time because I don't want him to get sick. I want him to be around for a long time. But,
yeah. And
you know,
he's 6 years old, you said, about
he's
six
6 years
years.
old now. Yeah, he was 2 when
So
I
cute.
got him. Yep, he was real tiny when I got him, and this is as big as he's gonna get. And he's my baby, man. I love him to
Yep.
death.
Yep.
I love.
I've heard people get mad when people say like having a dog is like having a baby, and people be like, no, it's not. And I'm like, yeah, I have both. And I can tell
Hmm.
you it's the same. I
It's the
love them.
same.
It's the same. If you can't treat your dog like it's your baby or your any of your pets, if you
Then you
can't treat
shouldn't
it
have
like
one.
it, yeah, then don't get one. Just don't
Yeah.
get one. And people quit breeding them just for no reason. Like,
Yeah. And I hate when people get these dogs, especially those pit bulls, and they fight them. Like, that's
yeah,
not what a dog is for. Why are you fighting dogs?
because
Like,
people are gross.
yeah, like I don't get it. It's crazy. But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Uh anyway, I wanna could you share a moment or a story from your career that truly affirmed your purpose and your mission?
Oh gosh, in relations to sex trafficking, I have
We talked
so
about a
many
lot
stories.
already, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, well, I didn't hit on that a lot of my clients come to me through the court system. A lot of my
Okay.
trafficked kids. They actually get in trouble for being trafficked and they'll get court appointed to me. Yep, you heard me right.
Oh, are you kidding me? The victim
That the
gets in trouble?
victim. Yes. And I'm
Why?
even starting to tear up thinking about it because it's our system and I don't know how to say it without potentially getting attacked, but we are run by old white men, and that's the downfall of society. I'm
That's the
sure it
problem.
works.
That's the problem with our government. We're run by old
Yes.
white men. We need to get all these old white people out of the government and we need to bring some younger people in there who are
Yes,
educated. And we need, I'm just tired of these old folks in the government,
I
their old
agreed.
way of thinking.
I mean, there's some that I think like I love Bernie Sanders. I was
I
trying not to
like
get
Bernie
political,
Sanders.
but
Yeah.
I still think I love him. I've had a crush on his heart for like a decade at least, probably
Yeah.
longer. But he needs to go too.
Yeah.
He
We
needs
need
to
some
go. He
young
needs,
folks in there. Give these
yeah,
young people opportunity. I want to see people of different cultures, people of different race in the White House, in
yeah,
government, young people. I'm tired of these old farts with their
yep,
old ways and their old mentality. Like, and just all about keeping a people oppressed. And that's why I voted for Kamala, because I was hoping that, and now we're getting into politics,
yeah. I know. I'm sorry.
is going to move this country forward. And I don't know what's going to happen with Donald Trump being in there. I mean,
Let me tell you this though. So we voted for Kamala at my house. The three of us who could vote, we voted for her, and she lost by whatever 3 million votes or whatever. I want everybody to realize though this that how many votes Donald Trump got this time is not any more votes than he got last time. He didn't get more new followers, so that's hopeful. That is so hopeful to me.
hmm
And the amount of people didn't didn't vote or voted for Donald was one major reason I heard a lot of people voting for him was because he's memeable, he's funny, he's something to always talk about, something to always make fun of. Now that is a terrible reason to elect an official, but that
hmm
also gives me hope that they don't like his policies, they don't like what he stands for, they like that we can make fun of him. So I'm like,
hmm
okay, now if we could have just get all those same people to
Right.
vote like they actually are going to be affected by his policies, then that's a different story. So I think
Right.
next time if we want a young, a new, a non-Republican, well, I can't even say Republican because I'm not saying every one of them is bad, but most of them are cult, the
Yeah.
Donald Trump cult right now. But if we don't want that, then we need to show up on our numbers because we had a lot less people vote this time. And my
Mm.
guess is it's not that anybody switched over. We can see at the numbers that he lost followers. He still won because I'm guessing we thought she's got this handled.
Right.
So people just didn't show up for her. That is what my heart hopes.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I'm really proud of the Republicans who did stand up against Donald Trump.
Me too.
And even if I don't agree with them 100%, that I'm proud that they
They
because
stood
it's
up.
probably a scary position for them to stand up against them, and we had some do that, and I'm
Yeah.
grateful for them. But we just need to get our numbers, out there.
Yeah.
Get back voting every time. It's not we can't just say somebody else will vote. It'll be fine. All my
Yeah.
friends are voting because those friends are thinking the same thing that you're going to go vote. So
Yeah.
everybody needs to go out, express yourself. That's still, even though he won, over 70% of Americans did not vote for him. So we need to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And we need to keep in mind that we don't want him to fail. We want him to succeed because if he fails, that's bad for our country.
Yeah.
We want
Yeah.
him out there doing actually, let's see you make America great. You
Yeah.
said you're going to do it. Then do it. Let's see you do
Yeah.
great.
Make it great. Don't make it worse. Because
Yeah, I
we
mean,
already,
we went through the drama and depression at our house for a couple days
yeah.
after, but at the end of the day, I just hope that he does good. That's still my honest hope is I hope that he does good.
That's what I'm praying for too. I'm praying that he did win an election. I mean, okay, let's face it. A lot of us don't like Donald Trump, but this man is going to go down in history. There's going to be another person who's going to want to be just like Donald Trump, whether
Hmm.
we like it or not. This man he's a brand. You go places, you see his name on buildings, you see his
Yeah,
name everywhere. He's a brand. And we might not, we don't like the person he is. I just don't like the person he is. I don't like the division. I don't like the being disrespectful. I don't like the talking down and disrespecting women. Those things I don't like about him as a person. I don't wish death on him. But I do hope and pray that while he's in power for the next 4 years, he uses it wisely. And that's all we can do is just pray, that
Yeah.
he do the right thing, because we this country done been through enough. We've been through a pandemic,
Yeah.
and people are still struggling from inflation right now. I mean, rent is extremely high. I mean, I live in the state of Pennsylvania. You know how much it costs for a one-bedroom apartment in this area I live in?
Too much.
$1,800, 16, 17 for a one-bedroom apartment. I mean, that's mortgage prices. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Groceries is too high. People lost family members during COVID. This country has been through so much. And right now, a lot of people need to heal. We need to be more respectful to one another. Despite what people may believe, God is still in control, and God created us all equal, despite what man wants to do. God created us all equal. White is not better than black. Black people are not better than white people. I mean, it's just we all got to live in this country together, and this is the way that we should be thinking, despite that that's not the way a lot of people think.
Right, right.
you know.
Yeah, but just
So
have hope. And all I think we could do at a singular level is just go out and be kind to each other and
that's what.
make good choices,
Yeah.
like that's the best thing we could do. I told my husband, I mean, we already started decorating for Christmas, and I usually don't go hard on Christmas. It's not my it's to me it's always been a holiday of greed, so I'm not like a big Christmas fan. But
Okay.
I'm already decorating now. I'm like, my only retaliation is socialist Jesus. That is that is my retaliation to this election right now is we
Right.
will be showing how what a socialist Jesus says he is, and
Hmm.
we will be sharing that. We will be loving people. We will be
Yeah.
celebrating people of all types. Like,
Yeah.
we're not going to be boxed in to anything. We are just going to spread the love that these other people are saying they're spreading. We're actually going to go do that. And that's my retaliation right now is just to love more.
That's
It's
my retaliation too, because we all are individuals, and we all don't we don't we all everybody don't have to walk around here hating somebody because they're an immigrant, or because they're white, or because they're black. As individuals, we have to be accountable for ourselves, our actions, and how we treat people, and we cannot rely on government. Things might not go the way that we wanted it to go during the election, but we can all do something individually. You know what I mean? Like, we could still go out here and serve, and we could still go out here and help people.
Mhm.
If you see somebody homeless on the street, get them something to eat. Take them in the house, give them a bath, put them on some clean clothes, do something,
Yep.
that's going to make people feel good instead of making people feel bad. And, tearing people down is not the answer. We have to build and lift each other up, and that's what we need right now.
Yep.
And then I have one last question I want to ask you. I don't want to keep you long, because I know we've been talking about everything. We don't went from making to mental health to politics.
Politics. Yep. I feel like everything leads down to that eventually, but
Yeah,
yeah.
everything leads down to, but it all relates to mental health, because it affects us all mentally, I mean,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
many of us are depressed right now because Donald Trump won the election? Or how, we have a lot of people, because right now people are thinking about what's going to happen with their finances, all the things that Kamala promised, like, $25,000 down payment for first-time homeowners, and $6,000 tax credit
Mhm.
for your firstborn child. These are things that people were looking forward to, and now with Donald Trump being in office, a lot of this stuff probably is gone out the window, you know.
I would like to point out though too, not to go super political again, but it's hard to escape it. A lot of even though we had so many Republicans winning, a lot of the Democratic policies were winning over. So
Hmm.
even though there's Republicans in office, most Democratic policies did get approved this election. So that is something to
That's a
look
plus.
forward
Yeah,
to.
that's a
Yeah.
plus.
And
Yeah.
I do know like during COVID, um, one thing I do say thank you to Trump for was he was pushing for people to get checks and things. It was the House that was stopping, but he was very vocal about wanting people to get checks. And so I hope he comes back in with that same mentality of like, what can we do to help the people?
Hmm.
Um, but we'll see because I do think he's a puppet head, but we'll see what if he
And I
speaks what's
think that's the
really.
only thing. But the thing is, he wasn't. What wasn't it Congress that was the one who gave everyone those stimulus checks? Because it seems like that's what everybody is stuck on, the checks.
Yeah,
Everybody think,
no,
oh,
this
Donald Trump gave us the checks. Donald Trump held up those checks.
no, the Senate held up the
The
checks. That
Senate,
was yeah,
because
Mitch
he
McConnell.
wanted to get his signature on the check. That's why it was held up, from what I understand.
Mitch McConnell didn't want he thought it would be bad for the economy to get these checks because
Hmm.
so but yeah, Donald was pushing from the I can't say from the beginning, but after the first check went out, he was pushing for that second check. And
I think he did it because he wanted to get reelected again.
oh yeah, I think he
I
had
think that was the
motives
reason why he
behind it.
pushed for that second
Yeah.
stimulus check, because when COVID hit, when the pandemic hit, all the other countries were getting stimulus checks every month.
Yeah.
America only got one stimulus check, I think it
Mm.
was. And Donald Trump was pushing for another one right before his reelection. He wanted to be reelected. So he was like, oh, I guess he felt like, let me give these people another check. Maybe they'll vote for me again. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I do think he had motives for sure, but I do remember that he was going against what the Senate was saying at that time. And
Yeah.
but I do think he had motives for it. For I mean, no matter I think either side of the politics, they always got motives in what they're
Yeah.
doing. And
Either way.
yeah, I think he was the same. But yeah, I was like very thankful that he was pushing because there was
Hmm.
so much, like my clients are dependent for their life
Hmm.
on these stimulus. So I was like, come on, Donald, just
Yeah.
do this one good thing for us. Come on, you could do it. But
Right.
no, but again,
You
having
know
hope.
what they need to do is they need to wipe out all these student loans.
Agreed.
Give the American people a fresh start. Wipe out the student loans, because, in America, we were all taught, go to college and you'll get a good job.
Mm,
Uh, That's not true. You go to college, you come out of college in debt, and you
yep.
owe all this money in student loans. So, and a lot of times you don't even find a job that you went to school for. So,
Right.
you're back at working at McDonald's for what, $12 an hour, and you're $60,000 in student loan debt. So I think that we need to give the American people a fresh start. Wipe out all these student loans,
Mm.
so people could get their credit back in order. You know what I mean? Increase minimum wage. I mean, I just think the American people need a fresh start.
I
You know,
agree. And
at
so
least
many
that's what
people
I
who
would
are
do if I
against
was in
the
the White House.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that when we wipe out the student debt, for most people, we're not wiping out money they owe. Most of those people have paid back their student loans. It's now they're just paying interest for decades and decades. I mean, I
Yeah.
owe more now than I ever took out, and I've been paying on mine for about 15 years now. I've been paying, and I owe more than when I graduated,
Oh, because of the
and that's
interest.
yeah,
Yeah.
all because of interest. So, and that's the most. So, if they wiped out my student debt,
Right.
I've already paid mine back. I've paid back what I've taken. I've paid back that more than, but I still
Yeah.
owe more than I ever took out because of interest. And that's for the most people that, as my two who are in college right now, we said
Hmm.
never, you are not doing student loans. So they got
Yeah.
scholarships, they got parents help, we're not doing that for you guys. We're setting you up good.
Yeah.
It's kind of the only way, unless something happens. It's the kind of the only way. But I don't know why they
Yeah.
don't want college to be free, anyways. You don't want your people to be more successful. You don't want your people to be smart. Oh, that
Right. Yeah.
no.
Well, a lot of people now today, people are making money doing content now. It's like, people are making, I didn't realize you can make so much money doing content creation. People
Yeah,
are making millions of dollars just creating content now. I mean, a lot of
yeah.
people are not even going to college. They're like, hell, let me make content creation a full-time
Why would
job.
you? Yeah, why would you want to put work into it when you can just be doing fun stuff? I don't
Yeah,
blame them. I don't blame them.
I mean, I watched this guy on YouTube. He makes millions of dollars, and he travels all over the world and eats different food. And
Yep.
and he get paid for it, and that's a nice living. I mean, you're going to all these different countries, you're eating all these different foods, and you're making millions of dollars. What better job could you have than that?
Yeah. I have a cousin. He doesn't make millions, but I have a cousin who travels the world in playing Pokemon Go. That
Hmm.
and that's what he lives off of. He gets to travel the world and
Wow.
play
And
Pokemon Go. And
wow.
I don't even know if I didn't even know Pokemon Go's a thing still. Like
I,
I
I
haven't
didn't
played it
either.
since the day it came out, and I played it the one day and thought, okay, that's not for me.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
then there's that. But that's what he makes a living. Like I said, he's not a millionaire, but he lives off of that. He makes
Right.
more than I make. And I'm a mom with kids and a degree.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's living better than I've ever lived. So
I know. The
I'm
world
proud
is,
of him. He's got a
yeah.
beautiful heart, and
Yeah.
he's a good kid, but I'm like, this is just wild. This is the world we live in.
Yeah, this is the world we live in. The world has changed so much. It's become more revolved around technology. With AI and all these different things that are coming out now. You don't even have to think for yourself anymore, not with AI. I mean, a lot of these students hired it, they can have AI write a whole paper for them for school now.
Yeah.
Like it's like you don't even everything just changed. And did you hear that Elon Musk said that he wants to put people on Mars or whatever? And I was like,
Yeah,
who's
he's
gonna
been
live
wanting
there?
that for so long.
I
Like,
was
good
like,
luck.
who gonna live on Mars? I mean, come on.
Good luck with that, pal. Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know. This world is just it's just changing so fast. I tell you, it's getting crazy. But anyway, wow, we talked about a whole lot. It's just one other thing I want to talk about before I let you go. And I want to talk about the 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 trauma that you help people, well, not the trauma, but how do you help people overcome a lot of trauma that they experienced in their life? Because sometimes people experience trauma and they can't come out of it. They get stuck in that trauma.
Yeah.
I was blessed to come out of it because I experienced, and I talk about this a lot, that I had experienced a really bad accident about 3 years ago, and it was traumatic to the point where I was almost killed. And I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed to be able to get through my physical therapy. I'm blessed to be able to walk again. Um, but mentally, it took a toll on me in the beginning, but I was able to overcome it because I I was able to seek therapy. Then I physically and I mentally work out. I meditate. I do all these different things, and I'm constantly always working on my body. But there are some people who just can't seem to come out of it. And what advice could you give them for someone who might be stuck in their trauma?
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because everybody's trauma is different and everybody's gonna handle their trauma differently. Um, so like very minor, somebody might have walked in on me while I'm going to the bathroom, right? It might embarrass me, that might have been traumatic, and it might take me 2 decades to get over that moment. Somebody else might be getting raped every day from the time they're 4 years old till they're 10 years old. They finally get out of that situation. It takes them 2 months of getting help and they're feeling better already. Everybody's going to have a different degree of trauma and a different degree of what helps them get over it.
Right,
Um, so that's one thing to keep in mind is like it's not a one size fits all package. It's not that you've gone through this, I got the miracle cure right here. It takes time. It
mhm,
takes so much time. And it's not just a one day thing. You don't go in and get help this one day or find something online one day or start going to the gym one day. And oh, I went on Friday. Why am I not better 2 years from now? Because you have to go every Friday or you have
that's
to go
true.
every day or you have to go every month or whatever the routine that you make is. You have to keep putting in that work. And one time is if it only takes one time, that's wonderful. But the chances of it only taking one time is not realistic. It's very
Right.
unrealistic.
Yeah.
So keep at it until you find that thing. And I'm a psychologist. I do all sorts of different types of therapy with people, but sometimes going to actual therapy isn't the best therapy for you. Some other thing could be going to the gym. It could be writing scripts. It could be donating or volunteering at a charity. It could be starting your own business. It could be so many different things. Creating art. That's just a really good one that I find helps a lot of people, and they don't realize how therapeutic creating art actually is for them. Um, but yeah, so you have to find your thing. And this is a really gross way to think about it, but it's like if you said you want to drink a water, so I bring you a cup with water in it and I say, "Oh, I also put a little pee in it for you." And you're like, "Why did you pee in my water?" I said, "Well, just put sugar on it. It'll cover the taste." Well, that pee's still there, right? So you have to find your right filter. You have to find the right filter for your water. And for everybody, that might be something different. For a lot of people, it might be the same thing. But try. There's so many different therapeutic methods out there to give a try for, and so many that are non-traditional therapy methods, like I was saying, art. Maybe just splatting, filling a water balloon up with paint and splatting it on canvas is your therapy and it works for you. If that is truly filtering out the pee from your water, do that.
Right.
Do that exact thing. But, but try. If that doesn't work for you, try something else. Find friends. And this sounds so weird, but strangers sometimes are better than friends to talk to because they have no preconditions, no,
They don't know
well,
you
they don't, yeah,
personally.
they don't know. And you never have to see that stranger again.
Right.
But they're not being like, well, your dad did that to you because blah, blah, blah. They don't know nothing about your dad, these
Right.
strangers. So they're going to be like, yeah, that does sound like your dad's an a-hole or what, whoever the bad in your life is, or yeah, your boss is a jerk. While somebody else might be like, your friend is like, well, just keep to it. You'll eventually get that promotion. They're trying to
Mm-hmm.
be their own method of supporting. A
Yeah.
stranger is just going to tell you, let you vent, and give you their version of what they see from
Right.
that situation only, not looking at all the other things. So reach out to strangers. They want to talk to you. They want to listen to you. So
Yeah.
use that. Use
I
that.
talk to strangers all the time.
Yeah.
Every
Well, I
day.
mean, this is
I'm out my door. I'm a people person, so I talk to everybody. I'm just one of those people. I'm not like I could go places by myself, which I prefer to do because I like rolling alone. But I like rolling alone because I know I'm going to meet people wherever I go and I'm going to talk to people and they're going to talk to me. So I talk to strangers all the time. So,
That's lovely. That's so wonderful. I kind of
yeah.
I talk to strangers, but I'm not as confident as you are. Like they need to come to me.
Oh,
Like I'm not gonna go to them. Like,
right.
but if I'm
Right.
just sitting there and you come chat with me, you better believe I'm in on it. But I am not gonna go to you to chat. So,
Right.
uh, but yeah, no, yeah. I wish
Right.
I wish I was a little bit more like that. I mean, you meet so many beautiful people that way, and
You
you
do.
can start seeing the good in the world when you reach out to each other like that. So,
Yeah.
find the method that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
People, I like to say this, that I'm not your therapist, but I can help you find therapy. So if anybody ever looks me up and finds a way to contact me, you I will help you find help if that's what you need. But yeah, I
Okay.
mean, there's something out there for you that can help you for sure. Just don't
Yeah.
hurt other people as part of your process.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Oh, Jacquelynn, it's been a pleasure having you on this podcast. I tell you,
Thank
as a
you.
matter of fact, this is the longest running episode.
I can talk. I can talk.
Well, it's not just you. I can talk too now. So,
I love it.
but it's been a pleasure having you on. I'm looking forward to connecting with you even after this podcast. I'm looking forward to
Same.
being a part of your filming. Maybe I can audition and get a part. I'm throwing it out there. Uh,
I'm not against it. Next time I have a project, I will definitely keep you in mind.
oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, I definitely want to definitely connect with you even after the podcast, and be a part of everything you're doing down there in Florida. Plus it gives me an excuse to travel.
Yes.
This has been so good. We touched on so many different topics that this audience is going to enjoy, and they're going to get so much out of this. Like I said, this is the longest running episode, and I'm excited about it. I'm happy about it. And for those who are watching, Make sure you tune in every week at 7 o'clock for a new episode of Let's Talk About This. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so I could keep bringing on wonderful guests like Jacquelynn, and don't just subscribe to the channel. You got to watch the content. I
Yes.
mean, it don't make sense to just subscribe and you're not getting anything out of the content. So my thing is quality over quantity. It's all about quality for me anyway. You know what I mean? So Jacquelynn, thanks again. And also, do you have any social media handles that people might be able to reach out to you if they need to?
Yeah, my personal social media is pretty hidden. Like it's everything's private, but if you look me up like on Instagram, it will be private, but you could still message me. That's Rumble underscore B33. So it looks like the word Rumblebee. That was my roller derby name. So that's what that is. But you can message me on there if you need help. I can help guide you to ways to get help or reach out through the festival admin at Wolf Media Fest, or we're at Wolf Media Fest on all social media. So you can reach me there too.
Okay, y'all heard that. All right. So again, and thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Jacquelynn, for coming
Thank you
on.
so much. Thank you.
It was a pleasure. I swear, it really was.
Thank you.
Take care.